I'm about to share 11 words that will challenge everything you think you know about manifestation, prayer, and your own power. These words work so differently from what you've been taught that your mind may try to dismiss them. But if you move past that resistance, you'll uncover the most powerful manifestation tool ever revealed. This isn't another prayer or affirmation, it's the master key that unlocks the infinite creative power of the universe. Once you know these 11 words and apply them correctly, there will be no limit to what you can manifest. My friend, if you've been frustrated by manifestation methods that promise results but fall short, or if you've tried prayers and affirmations without success, what I'm about to share is for you. For over 4 decades, I've studied ancient texts hidden from the public, tested countless techniques with thousands of people, and uncovered principles too powerful to be shared openly. These 11 words are the culmination of everything I've learned. They are not just another method. This is the forbidden prayer, one that contains all others within it. The master key that opens every door. The sacred formula guarded by sages for centuries. When you use these words correctly, you don't just improve your situation, you step into a different reality where manifestation flows naturally and you finally realize your true creative power. Most people have been taught to pray from a place of need and separation, begging the universe for what they want, trying to convince God to grant their desires. But this only pushes what they seek further away. The forbidden prayer works from a different principle, the principle of unity, of already having, of claiming your divine inheritance, rather than asking for what you believe is missing. These 11 words don't beg, hope, or request. They declare, they claim, they command, with the authority of someone who knows their true spiritual nature. And here's why this prayer was hidden. It works too well. When people discover it, they stop being controlled. They no longer accept limitation, scarcity, or powerlessness. They awaken to their unlimited creative power, and that threatens every system built to keep people small. Authorities have always known that if everyone understood these 11 words, society itself would have to change. People wouldn't settle for unfulfilling jobs, dishonoring relationships, or limiting circumstances. That's why this prayer was kept secret for centuries, passed only from teacher to student, shared only with those considered ready. But I believe that time has ended. You are ready to know these 11 words and use them to transform your life. Over the next 2.5 hours, I'll guide you through a journey that will change how you see prayer, manifestation, and your creative power. We'll begin by exploring why traditional methods fail, and what makes this 11-word prayer so unique and effective. Then I'll reveal the words themselves, explaining the meaning of each and how they combine to form an unstoppable force for manifestation. You'll learn how to speak them, when to speak them, and why sharing them reduces their power. I'll also explain the ancient wisdom behind these words, the scientific principles that show why they work, and the conditions that create the most powerful results. You'll discover how to prepare your mind to receive the full power of this prayer and how to align your entire being with its energy. Most importantly, you'll learn how to use these 11 words daily, transforming not just your circumstances, but your very identity as a conscious creator. By the end, you'll hold the most powerful manifestation tool ever known, and you'll know exactly how to use it to create any reality you desire. But be warned, once you experience the power of these words, you can never go back to seeing yourself as powerless. You'll awaken to your true nature as an unlimited being. With that awakening comes responsibility, the responsibility to use this power wisely and with love. Why most prayers fail? Before I can entrust you with the 11 sacred words, you must first understand why the prayers and manifestation techniques you've been taught fall short. Unless you grasp the flaws in traditional approaches, you won't fully value the revolutionary power of what I'm about to share. The most damaging mistake people make is what I call the begging trap. From childhood, we're taught to pray as, Helpless beings asking a distant deity to grant our requests, often based on worthiness. This approach doesn't just fail, it backfires. Every time you beg, plead, or pray from lack, you reinforce the very limitation you want to overcome. Here's why. When you pray from need, you're sending the energetic message that you don't have what you desire. Your subconscious, the true mechanism of manifestation, accepts this and maintains the state of not having. If you ask for money, you affirm you don't have it. If you beg for love, you confirm you lack it. If you plead for health, you declare yourself sick. Supplicating prayer keeps you stuck in wanting, not having. I once worked with a woman named Sarah who prayed desperately for financial relief for more than 2 years. Every day she begged God to help her, pleaded with the universe for money, and asked every spiritual force she knew to rescue her from poverty. Yet her situation only worsened. The more she prayed from desperation, the more her financial struggles grew. When Sarah came to me, I showed her that her prayers were actually creating more of what she didn't want. Every plea was reinforcing lack. Every word of supplication was affirming powerlessness. Once she understood, everything shifted. She stopped begging and began claiming abundance as her birthright. Instead of pleading for help, she commanded prosperity. She prayed from the consciousness of already having. Within 3 months, she resolved her financial crisis and attracted opportunities that led to the most prosperous period of her life. The shift wasn't in her circumstances at first. It was in her consciousness, and her circumstances simply followed. This leads us to the second major flaw in traditional prayer, the separation illusion. What I call the separation illusion is another major obstacle to manifestation. Most people pray to God, the universe, or a higher power as if these forces were outside of themselves. They see themselves as limited human beings asking for help from vast external powers. But this sense of separation is the greatest barrier to effective prayer. The truth, taught by all great spiritual traditions, is that you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that creative power expressed through your unique consciousness. When you pray to God, as though God exists apart from you, you deny your own divine nature. When you ask the universe for help, as if it were external, you reject your identity. As a creator, when you approach manifestation as though you need permission from outside forces, you forget that creation itself flows through you. The 11 words I'll share with you work from the opposite principle, the principle of unity. They recognize your oneness with infinite creative power and claim your role as a conscious creator, instead of begging for favors from outside sources. The worthiness wound. Perhaps the most damaging belief in traditional prayer is what I call the worthiness wound. This is the idea that you must earn the right to have your prayers answered through good behavior, sacrifice, or spiritual effort. This belief turns prayer into a transaction. Be good, and God will reward you. Sacrifice, and the universe will deliver. Prove yourself, and then you deserve your desires. But worthiness is not something to be earned. It is something you already are. You didn't earn the right to breathe, to think, to feel, or to exist. These are your natural inheritance. In the same way, abundance, love, health, and happiness are not rewards for good behavior. They are your spiritual birthright, available to you simply because you exist. I once worked with a minister named David. He had dedicated his life to serving others, sacrificing his own needs, and trying to prove his worthiness to God through selfless acts. He believed that if he was good enough, helpful enough, and selfless enough, God would bless him with the love and abundance he quietly longed for. Yet after decades of service, David remained lonely, financially limited, and spiritually unfulfilled. He wondered if he wasn't good enough, if he needed to sacrifice even more, or if he was simply unworthy of love and prosperity. When David learned the truth about worthiness, that it is not earned but inherent, everything changed. He stopped trying to prove himself and began claiming his divine inheritance. He stopped striving for love and began accepting it as his natural birthright. The results were remarkable. Within months, David met a loving partner. His income grew significantly, and he experienced joy and fulfillment he once thought impossible. The shift came not from doing more or being better, but from recognizing what had always been true. He was already worthy of unlimited love and abundance, the core flaws of traditional prayer. These three fundamental flaws, begging instead of claiming, separation instead of unity, and unworthiness instead of inherent divinity, are what make most prayers ineffective. They turn what should be conscious acts of creation into practices of self-limitation. But there is still one more element most people miss, perhaps the most important of all. Traditional prayer treats desires as if they are separate from you, as if they are external objects that must be pulled in from the outside. The deeper truth is this: everything you desire already exists within your consciousness as potential. Your role is not to attract these things from outside yourself, but to allow them to emerge from within into physical expression. When you grasp this principle, when you realize you are not trying to gain what you lack, but to express what you already are, prayer shifts. It becomes not a request, but a recognition, not a plea, but a declaration, not an effort to change outer circumstances, but an awakening to inner truth. This is why the 11 words I'm about to share are unlike any prayer you've encountered. They do not ask, beg, or plead. They recognize, declare, and command with the authority of one who knows that all love, all abundance, and all power already exist within their own consciousness. The sacred science of the 11 words. But these 11 words were not discovered easily. They were not revealed without great sacrifice and dedication to truth. What I'm about to share with you represents the culmination of over 40 years of searching, studying, and testing. The 11 words were not simply found. They were earned through decades of exploring the deepest mysteries of consciousness, manifestation, and prayer. My journey began when I realized that despite all I knew about spiritual principles and the power of the mind, something was missing. I could help people think more positively and improve their lives, but I hadn't yet uncovered the ultimate key to unlock unlimited manifestation power for anyone, regardless of background or belief. I began exploring ancient texts, sacred writings, and hidden teachings from many traditions. I studied Hebrew mysticism, Christian contemplative practices, Islamic sacred formulas, Hindu mantras, Buddhist prayers, and indigenous invocations. I searched for the common thread, the universal principle behind all true manifestation practices. What I found was that in every genuine spiritual tradition, there were inner teachings kept for only the most devoted students. These included formulas considered too powerful for general knowledge, prayers hidden from the public because of their extraordinary effectiveness. Across traditions, I found repeated references to specific words, combinations of sounds said to hold the very power of creation. These were not ordinary prayers or mantras. They were described as words of power, sacred formulas, and divine commands capable of manifesting any desire when spoken with true understanding and authority. But locating these references was only the first step. The actual words were encoded, hidden, and scattered across texts and traditions to prevent misuse. It took years to piece together the complete formula, and even longer to understand why it worked so effectively. The breakthrough came when I realized that these 11 words are not just sounds or syllables. They are vibrational keys, frequencies that unlock specific states of consciousness. Each word in this sequence activates a different level of your creative empower, and together they create what I call a cascade of consciousness, an alignment of your entire being with the infinite creative potential of the universe. Now, let me reveal the 11 sacred words. As you hear them, don't just process them with your mind, receive them with your whole being. These words carry the accumulated spiritual energy of centuries of sacred use. The 11 words are, I am the infinite creative power expressing perfect manifestation now through divine love. At first, these may seem simple, even ordinary compared to what you might expect. But this simplicity is precisely why they remained hidden for so long. Their strength is not in complexity, but in precision, not in mystery, but in clarity. Let me explain the science behind each phrase and why, together, they generate extraordinary manifestation power. The prayer begins with I am. These two words alone hold more creative power than most people ever use in a lifetime. I am is the name infinite intelligence gave to itself when Moses asked for its identity. I am is the fundamental creative statement of consciousness. Every time you use these words, you are invoking the same creative force that brought the universe into being. Yet most people use I am carelessly, I am broke, I am lonely, I am sick. Without realizing it, they are commanding these conditions into existence with the most powerful words in any language. When you declare, I am the infinite creative power, you align your individual consciousness with universal consciousness, affirming your identity as a divine creative being. The phrase, the infinite creative power, is often where resistance appears. Your logical mind may argue, but I'm not infinite creative power. I'm just a human being with limitations. This resistance is the reason these words remained hidden. Most people are not ready to claim their divine identity, having been conditioned to see themselves as small and powerless. Yet the truth is this: you are infinite creative power expressed through your unique consciousness. Every thought you think is creative power at work. Every feeling is creative power in motion. Every word you speak is creative power manifesting. The difference between those who manifest with ease and those who struggle is not access to creative power. It is their recognition of it. When you say, I am the infinite creative power, you are not speaking about your personality or physical body. You are claiming your spiritual essence, your divine nature, your true identity as a being of unlimited creative potential. The third element is expressing perfect manifestation. This shifts your declaration from a statement of being into a command of action. You are not only affirming your nature as creative power, you are directing it to express itself as manifestation in your life. The word expressing is key. It shows that manifestation is not creating from nothing, but allowing what already exists in consciousness to emerge. You are not reaching for something outside yourself. You are expressing what you already are. The word perfect is equally vital. It eliminates doubt, partial results, and incomplete manifestations. You're not asking for something imperfect or delayed. You're commanding perfect manifestation, the complete and ideal fulfillment of your desire. The fourth element is now. This single word dissolves the time delays that often block manifestation. Most people place desires in the future. Someday I'll have this. Eventually it will happen, but someday never arrives. It remains forever in the future. When you declare, now you claim your desire as a present reality. You are not waiting or hoping, you are recognizing manifestation in this moment. The final phrase is through divine love. This ensures the entire prayer is not an act of personal will, but an expression of universal love. It guarantees that what you manifest aligns with the highest good of all, serving not just your happiness, but the greater unfolding of harmony, joy, and love in the world. Divine love is the driving force behind true creation. When you manifest through divine love, you align your desires with the creative impulse of the universe itself. Together, these 11 words create what I call a manifestation cascade, a sequence of shifts that unlock deeper levels of creative power. I am awakens your divine identity. The infinite creative power affirms your unlimited essence. Expressing perfect manifestation directs action. Now collapses time. Through divine love ensures alignment with the highest good. What makes this prayer unique is that it asks for nothing. It doesn't try to persuade or force external change. Instead, it recognizes what is already true at the deepest level and commands it to become visible in physical reality. When spoken with genuine understanding and authority, these words do not request manifestation. They cause it. They do not ask for change. They command it. They do not seek permission. They exercise divine authority. But there is one crucial point. These words only work when spoken in a very specific way, under specific conditions, with proper preparation. Simply reading or repeating them mechanically will achieve nothing. These words must be treated as sacred tools, approached with reverence and proper preparation. If spoken incorrectly, they can disrupt your ability to manifest by creating energetic confusion and misalignment. This is why the full method for using them was kept secret, not to withhold power, but to ensure that when accessed, it would be done safely and effectively. Now let me share the exact method for using these 11 words, the Silent Power Protocol, which transforms them from simple phrases into forces of unlimited creation. My friend, knowing the 11 sacred words is only the beginning. They hold immense potential, but that potential can only be unlocked when they are practiced according to a precise protocol refined over centuries of sacred tradition. The first and most important element of this practice is silence. These words must be used in complete silence, not whispered, not spoken, not even mouthed when you're alone. They should exist only within your consciousness, held in the sacred space of inner awareness, never released into the physical world. This requirement is not mystical. It rests on a principle of how consciousness creates reality. Words spoken, aloud, release energy into the physical realm, where it becomes scattered and limited. Words held in silence remain focused, concentrated, and aligned with the boundless creative power of pure awareness. Think of it this way. Spoken words are like seeds tossed on the surface of soil, uncertain to take root. Silent words, however, are like seeds planted deep in fertile ground, drawing from unlimited resources to manifest into form. Ancient mystics understood this truth. They knew sacred words carried too much power to be spoken casually. Such words were to be protected, treasured, and preserved in the sanctuary of inner silence. There is also a deeper reason for silence. When spoken internally, the words bypass resistance from the logical mind. The doubts, skepticism, and limiting beliefs, shaped by past conditioning. Spoken aloud, words invite analysis and questioning, but in silence, they go directly to the subconscious, where they are received as commands and acted upon immediately. I once guided a businessman, Robert, who had practiced manifestation techniques for years without success. When I shared the 11 words with him, he was disappointed by their simplicity. Against my instructions, he began saying them aloud in meditation, believing volume and emphasis would amplify their effect. Weeks passed with no results. He grew discouraged and nearly abandoned the practice. When he explained what he had done, I recognized the issue. His logical mind was interfering, analyzing, and doubting. I retrained him to use the words only in silence, forming them internally without ever speaking them. The results were immediate. Within days, synchronicities appeared. Within weeks, long-standing business problems resolved. Within months, his financial life transformed beyond his expectations. The words hadn't changed, only the method of delivery had. Silence allowed them to bypass resistance and reach the subconscious creative power directly. But silence alone is not enough. Timing is equally crucial. There are specific moments when the boundary between consciousness and physical reality is thinnest, when manifestation flows most naturally. The most powerful times to use these words are just before sleep and just as you wake. In these twilight states, the logical mind is quiet, defenses are lowered, and the subconscious is most open to new programming. Science confirms that the brain shifts through different frequencies throughout the day. During these transitions, between waking and sleeping, the brain enters the theta state, associated with deep creativity, insight, and accelerated manifestation. Still, it is not enough to simply repeat the words during these times. You must prepare your awareness to receive their full power through what I call the sacred pause, a moment of stillness where your being aligns fully with the infinite creative intelligence of the universe. Here is the complete protocol for maximum effectiveness. As you lie in bed, either ready to sleep or just awakening, take 3 deep breaths. With each exhale, release tension, worry, and lingering thoughts. Allow yourself to settle into peace and receptivity. Place your awareness in your heart center, the space in your chest where your deepest feelings and intuitions reside. This is the chamber where individual consciousness meets infinite consciousness, where personal will aligns with divine will. From this heart-centered awareness, silently form the words, I am the infinite creative power expressing perfect manifestation. Now, through divine love, do not analyze their meaning. Instead, feel their truth resonate through your whole being. After forming the words, remain in the feeling they create. Do not rush to other thoughts. Let yourself rest in the state they generate, for this is when manifestation takes place. In the silence that follows the sacred declaration, finally, release all attachment to how or when your desire will appear. Trust that infinite intelligence has already received your command and is working to bring it forth at the perfect time and in the perfect way. This process takes no more than 5 to 10 minutes, but its effects continue long after, throughout your sleep or day, depending on when you practice. I must emphasize, this protocol is not optional. Each element, silence, timing, heart-centered focus, sacred pause, and release, is essential. Altering or skipping any step will weaken the power of the practice. There is one final instruction, perhaps the most important. Once you begin using these 11 words, you must not share them with anyone. The effectiveness of this prayer depends entirely on secrecy. Revealing it to others will not only diminish its effect for you, but may interfere with your manifestations. This requirement is not about selfishness or withholding good. It is based on a fundamental principle of sacred energy. Understanding this principle is critical to your success. The secrecy principle. My friend, this may be the most difficult instruction I give you. Once I share this last piece of the protocol, you will have the complete formula for manifestation that has been hidden for centuries. But with this knowledge comes responsibility. If you wish to access its full power, you must never disclose these words to anyone. You must never share this prayer with family, friends, teachers, or anyone else, no matter how much you care for them or wish to help. The effectiveness of this prayer depends entirely on your ability to keep it secret. I understand this instruction may seem selfish, especially if you were taught that spiritual knowledge should always be shared. But what I'm about to explain will show you why secrecy is not only important, but absolutely necessary for the proper function of these sacred words. The first reason lies in the nature of spiritual energy. Sacred words and formulas hold concentrated spiritual power, much like a battery stores electrical energy. When energy remains contained and focused, it can achieve extraordinary results. But when scattered, it loses strength and becomes ineffective. Consider a magnifying glass focusing sunlight onto a single point. The concentrated energy can start a fire. But when sunlight spreads across a wide area, it only provides warmth. Spiritual energy works the same way. Concentration creates transformation. Dispersion weakens it. When you share sacred words with others, you essentially scatter their concentrated energy. Each person you tell drains the power, reducing its effectiveness for your own manifestations. This is not because universal energy is limited, but because the field created by these words must remain contained to maintain intensity. Ancient mystery schools understood this. Their teachings were given only to those who proved they could maintain silence, not to hoard knowledge, but to protect its power. There is a second, deeper reason for secrecy. Other people's consciousness can interfere with your manifestations. Sharing your desires or practices inevitably invites their doubts, fears, and judgments. Even loved ones, wishing the best for you, may unconsciously project limiting beliefs that disrupt your process. I once worked with a woman named Maria who used a powerful manifestation practice to attract her ideal partner. It was working beautifully. She felt more confident, met new people, and had promising connections. Excited, she shared her technique with a close friend who was skeptical. Her friend dismissed the practice as unrealistic. Within days, Maria's results faded. Connections ended, new opportunities stopped, and her confidence wavered. Her friend's doubts had disrupted her belief system, interfering with the manifestation field. It took weeks for Maria to recover her practice. The lesson was clear. Sharing sacred practices, even with good intentions, can weaken them. This is why spiritual traditions have always stressed secrecy. Jesus taught prayer in secret. Kabbalists protected sacred formulas. In Hinduism, certain mantras are said to lose their power when shared carelessly. These were not arbitrary rules, but practical instructions based on how spiritual energy works. The most important reason for secrecy, however, is honoring the sacred trust placed in you. These words were never meant to be spread casually. They are to be safeguarded and used only by those who understand their responsibility. By sharing these words with you, I am placing trust in your integrity and wisdom. I trust that you will honor the tradition of secrecy that has protected them for centuries. This does not mean you cannot help others or share spiritual knowledge. There are many teachings that should be shared freely, but these 11 words are different. They carry a level of power that requires special protection. If you want to help others, the best way is to embody the transformation these words create in your own life. Live the abundance they bring, radiate the love they awaken, express the joy they generate. Your example will speak louder than any explanation. When others notice positive changes in you, they may ask, "What has changed?" At that point, you can guide them generally toward practices like prayer, silence, and inner work, without revealing the exact words. Those who are truly ready will find them in their own time, just as you have. The universe ensures that each person receives the knowledge they need at the right moment. Your role is not to decide who is ready, but to protect the trust that has been given to you. There is another reason for secrecy, protecting your own manifestations. Even after your desires manifest, speaking about the method you used can weaken your ability to manifest in the future. Manifestation works best when it seems natural and effortless. If you attribute your success too heavily to a specific technique, you risk creating dependence on that technique instead of recognizing your own inherent creative power. The purpose of these 11 words is not to create dependency, but to awaken your awareness of your divine creative authority. Over time, you may no longer need to use the words, because you will have internalized their truth and live naturally from that state of consciousness. This awakening only happens if you treat the words properly, as sacred gifts for awakening, not casual tools for results. Let me share one final story. Many years ago, I worked with a man named Jonathan who used the 11 words to completely transform his finances, going from near bankruptcy to wealth in less than 2 years. Wanting to help others, he ignored my instructions and began teaching the words freely in his community. At first, he felt good about sharing and saw some people succeed, but over time, his own manifestation power declined. New financial opportunities disappeared. His business slowed. His income started to decline, and he couldn't understand why. After all, he was still using the words regularly in his practice. When Jonathan came to me for guidance, I immediately saw what had happened. By sharing the words indiscriminately, he had broken the sacred container that preserved their power in his life. The focused energy that once fueled his individual practice had been dispersed among many people, weakening its effectiveness for everyone involved. Jonathan had to undergo a complete spiritual purification to restore his connection with the sacred words and rebuild the energetic container damaged by careless sharing. It took him over a year to regain his previous level of manifestation ability. Even then, he committed to keeping the practice completely secret for the rest of his life. This experience gave both Jonathan and me a powerful lesson about the true nature of sacred energy and the absolute necessity of maintaining integrity in spiritual practices through proper secrecy. You may now wonder, if secrecy is so crucial, why am I sharing these words with you today? The answer is that at certain points in history, secrecy must give way for the greater good of humanity. Today is such a time. Humanity faces extraordinary challenges that demand every individual awaken to their full creative power. Old systems of control and limitation are collapsing, and a new world is emerging, one where people recognize their divine nature and unlimited creative authority. The 11 words I've shared are part of this awakening. They are being revealed now because the time has come and because there are individuals ready to receive and use them with responsibility. Yet, this does not eliminate the need for secrecy. If anything, it makes it even more essential. You are among a select few entrusted with this knowledge at this pivotal time. With this privilege comes the sacred duty to protect these words, apply them wisely, and demonstrate their power through the transformation of your own life, not through casual sharing. Remember, the strength of these 11 words lies not only in the words themselves, but in the entire protocol. Silence, timing, heart-centered awareness, sacred preparation, and above all, absolute secrecy. If any part of this protocol is ignored, the power weakens or disappears altogether. But when practiced fully with respect and consistency, these words unlock a level of manifestation most people can hardly imagine. They allow you to step into your true identity as a conscious creator, capable of manifesting any desire aligned with your highest good and the greater good of all beings. Now that you understand the full protocol, including the vital role of secrecy, I want to introduce advanced applications designed to help you use this practice for specific manifestations. Advanced applications and mastery. Now that you have the 11 sacred words and a clear understanding of how to use them, I want to guide you into advanced practices that will allow you to harness their full power. What I'm about to share represents the deepest level of this teaching, the mastery practices that transform the words from powerful tools into a complete system of conscious creation. The first level of advanced application is what I call desire-specific adaptation. While the 11 words in their pure form, I am the infinite creative power expressing perfect manifestation now through divine love, generate a general field of manifestation energy. You can direct this energy towards specific desires by incorporating what I call intention modifiers into your silent practice. These intention modifiers are not spoken out loud, nor are they added to the 11 words themselves. Instead, they are silently held in your awareness immediately before forming. The 11 words. Think of them as tuning the frequency of your manifestation energy. For example, if you seek financial abundance, begin by holding in your awareness a clear image and emotion of the prosperity you desire. See yourself living in complete financial freedom. Feel the peace and joy that come with unlimited resources. Experience the gratitude of being able to give generously to others. Hold this vision with clarity and genuine emotion. Then from this state of consciousness, silently form the 11 words. I am the infinite creative power, expressing perfect manifestation now through divine love. The words will naturally carry the frequency of your financial intention and work to manifest that exact desire. I once worked with a woman named Catherine who used this method to bring in a specific sum of money she needed to launch her dream business. Rather than hoping for general financial support, she calculated the precise amount, envisioned herself receiving it, and felt deep gratitude for the perfect manifestation of her business funding. For 30 days, each morning and evening, she first entered the state of consciousness where she had already received this money, then silently spoke the 11 words from that place of certainty. On the 28th day, she received a call from a distant relative offering her the exact amount she had been visualizing as an investment in her business idea. But money is only one application. These words can also be adapted for health and vitality. Before speaking them, hold the clear image and feeling of perfect health. Your organs working in harmony, energy radiating through every cell, your body expressing wholeness. For relationships, establish the consciousness of being surrounded by love. Feel worthy of deep connection, experience the joy of meaningful bonds, and sense your natural magnetism attracting those aligned with your authentic self. For career or life purpose, hold the vision of fulfilling work that expresses your gifts. Feel the satisfaction of meaningful daily activity and see yourself valued and well compensated for your natural talents. The key to this adaptation process is authenticity. You must genuinely feel the state of already having your desire. If you only visualize intellectually or try to force belief, the practice will lose its effectiveness. This leads to the second level of advanced application. Consciousness evolution. With consistent use, the 11 words begin to shift more than your circumstances. They transform your identity and the way you live in the world. Each declaration, I am the infinite creative power, is not only a tool for manifestation, but a claim of your true spiritual nature. Over time, this recognition changes how you see yourself. Instead of approaching life from lack and limitation, you begin to operate from sufficiency and unity. Instead of feeling like a victim of events, you recognize yourself as the creator of them. This transformation unfolds naturally as the truth of the words integrates into your being. I have worked with people who use this practice for years, and their growth is profound. They expect positive outcomes. They face challenges with confidence rather than fear. They make decisions from inner authority instead of external approval. They draw opportunities and people who support their highest good. Most importantly, they live from love rather than fear. The closing phrase, through divine love, gradually shifts motivation away from ego-driven desire toward expressing more love in the world. The third level of advanced application is living from the prayer. At this stage, the words become so deeply integrated that you no longer set aside time to use them. They define your natural state. You see yourself as infinite creative power, expect perfect manifestation, and operate from divine love instinctively. This is the true goal, not only to manifest desires, but to awaken fully as a conscious creator and live from that awareness consistently. People at this level often experience a flow of synchronicities, opportunities, and effortless manifestations. They no longer struggle to create because they are aligned with universal intelligence, becoming instruments of its expression. Reaching. This level, however, requires what I call sacred persistence, the willingness to continue even when the mind says it isn't working, when circumstances seem unchanged, or when doubt appears. I recall working with a man named Thomas. After several months of practice, his financial situation had improved slightly, but not to the level he expected. Discouraged, he considered quitting. I encouraged him to continue for a full year, explaining that transformation often occurs in waves. Sometimes the deepest shifts happen internally before they appear externally. Thomas agreed reluctantly, but in his 10th month everything changed. He received 3 job offers in the same week, each significantly better than his current role. He met the woman who became his wife. His health improved after years of chronic issues. Most importantly, his entire relationship with life shifted. He no longer felt he was battling circumstances, but instead trusted that the universe was supporting him. This is the transformation possible when the words are embraced as a way of life rather than a quick technique. It requires patience, persistence, and steady faith, even when results seem delayed. The 4th level of advanced application is collective manifestation, using the words not just for personal goals, but for the greater good. As your consciousness evolves, your focus naturally expands to include others. At this level, you might use the practice to manifest healing, community prosperity, peace in areas of conflict, or solutions to global challenges. Here, your intention grows beyond personal desire to encompass the well-being of all. Far from reducing your power, this actually strengthens your manifestation ability. There is one final level, the point at which the words are no longer needed. Their truth is so deeply integrated into your being that your very life becomes a prayer. Every action, every choice, every presence you bring into the world becomes a form of manifestation. At this ultimate level, you embody infinite creative power in human form. Few reach this, but it represents the real purpose of all spiritual practice. Not simply to obtain what you want, but to become what you were always meant to be, a fully awakened, loving, consciously creating expression of infinite intelligence itself. As you begin with the 11 words, remember this: you are stepping onto a path of awakening, one that has the potential to transform not only your life, but your understanding of what it means to be human. With this extraordinary gift comes extraordinary responsibility, and this brings me to the final teaching, the sacred responsibility that comes with possessing the 11 words. What I have shared is not just a method, it is a key that unlocks the creative power of the universe itself. With such a key comes responsibility few ever encounter. You now hold the power to shape almost any reality you can imagine, not only for yourself, but for everyone your life touches. The question you must now ask is this: how will you use this extraordinary gift? Throughout history, there have always been individuals who understood the deeper creative principles of existence. Some applied this knowledge wisely, becoming sources of healing, inspiration, and positive change in the world. Others misused it, focusing only on personal gain without concern for others or the greater good of humanity. The difference between these two groups was never access to power, since both held the same creative ability. The difference lay in their motivation, wisdom, and recognition of the interconnectedness of all life. The universe operates on principles of perfect balance and justice. Every action creates a reaction, every intention generates consequences, and every use of creative power sends ripples far beyond the original manifestation. When you use the 11 words to shape something in your life, you are not only influencing your own reality, You are participating in the larger flow of creation itself. This means that manifestation always carries a moral dimension. Every use of the 11 words contributes either to harmony or to imbalance. There is no neutral application of ultimate creative power. It always serves either love or fear, unity or division, healing or harm. This is why the prayer ends with the phrase, "through divine love." These words are not decoration. They are a safeguard, ensuring your manifestations align with the universe's central principle, love. When you manifest through divine love, you align your desires with what serves the highest good. You cannot use these words to harm another when love is your foundation. You cannot create at the expense of others when your motivation is genuinely loving. Greed, anger, revenge, or selfishness cannot drive manifestation when divine love is guiding you. This does not mean you should feel guilty for wanting abundance, success, or happiness. Divine love includes love for yourself and the universe. Intends for you to live with joy, prosperity, and fulfillment. The key is ensuring your personal prosperity also benefits others and contributes to the greater good. I once worked with a businessman named David, who used the 11 words to create an exceptionally successful company. But David recognized his responsibility to use prosperity wisely. His business offered meaningful jobs, valuable services, and consistent support for charitable causes. His success created positive ripples, improving the lives of many. His abundance became a channel for the universe to bless others, not just himself. This is what I call responsible manifestation, using creative power in a way that serves your own highest good while also supporting others. When you manifest from this perspective, you align with the universe's creative principles, and your manifestations are amplified by a higher intelligence. But responsible manifestation requires more than good intentions. It demands wisdom, discernment, and the ongoing development of what I call spiritual maturity. You must honestly examine your motivations, discerning whether your desires reflect your highest nature or lower impulses. You must choose manifestations that uplift and inspire, not merely satisfy immediate wants. This process of spiritual maturity never ends. Even after years of working with the 11 words, you must continue refining your intentions and purifying your desires. The greater your power becomes, the more important this inner work is. There is another responsibility I must highlight, using this power for something greater than your own life. As your skill with the 11 words deepens, you will naturally feel called to help others. At first, you may focus on your own health, income, or relationships. But as these needs are met and you feel secure, you will likely be drawn to contribute to healing, service, and collective uplift. Some resist this calling, clinging to personal use alone, but this resistance always leads to stagnation and eventually a weakening of manifestation ability. The universe did not give us creative power solely for personal use. It was given so we could become channels of divine love and transformation. When you begin using the 11 words for the healing of others, for solutions to community issues, or for global peace and harmony, something remarkable happens. Your personal manifestation ability expands dramatically. This occurs because you align with the higher purpose for which this power was entrusted to you. Time and again, I've seen this truth play out. Those who use manifestation selfishly eventually find their results weakening, but those who use it in service of love and the greater good see their abilities expand beyond what they thought possible. This does not mean neglecting your own needs or feeling guilty about personal desires. Rather, it means recognizing that true fulfillment comes not from acquiring more, but from becoming who you were meant to be. A conscious partner with divine intelligence in creating a more loving and harmonious world. There is one final responsibility. We must address protecting and preserving this knowledge. You are now among a relatively small group of people who possess the 11 words and understand their application. That makes you a guardian of wisdom that has been safeguarded for centuries. Future generations may depend on people like you to protect this knowledge for times when it will be urgently needed, when humanity faces challenges that can only be met by those who understand their true creative nature. Your responsibility is not just to use the words for your own life, but to embody their principles so fully that your life becomes living proof of their truth. When someone awakens to their divine creative power, their transformation shows others what is possible. Your life can stand as evidence of what humans are capable of achieving. This is perhaps the greatest responsibility of all, to live in a way that inspires others to discover their own power, their own spiritual nature, and their own capacity for conscious creation. This does not require sharing the specific words. We've discussed why that would not be wise. Instead, it means embodying the consciousness the words awaken, demonstrating the love they cultivate, and living the wisdom they reveal. In doing so, you become not just a practitioner of sacred knowledge, but a living expression of divine truth. Your presence itself becomes a reminder of what others can awaken to. Your life becomes an invitation for others to discover their own path to awakening and conscious creation. This is the sacred responsibility that comes with the 11 words, not to use them only for personal gain, but as tools for your own spiritual growth. And through that growth, you naturally become a source of inspiration and blessing to everyone. Your life touches. The power I've shared with you today is real. It works exactly as I've described if you follow the protocol correctly. But how you use this power, what you choose to manifest, and the person you become through practicing it, are choices only you can make. I trust you will use this knowledge wisely, with the reverence it deserves. I believe you can become not only a successful manifester, but also a blessing to the world. The 11 words are now yours. The responsibility is yours. The chance to transform your life and contribute to the healing of our world is in your hands. Use this gift well. The universe is waiting to see what you will create. Your new reality begins now. Although this marks the end of our journey together, it is really the beginning of yours. You now hold something most people never discover, the ultimate key to conscious creation, the master code to unlimited manifestation power, the 11 words that can transform any life. Let me remind you of what you've received. You now know the sacred words. I am the infinite creative power expressing perfect manifestation now through divine love. You understand why these words carry extraordinary power and how they differ from every other manifestation method. You also hold the full silent power protocol, the exact steps to use these words with maximum effect. You know they must be spoken in silence during twilight states of awareness from a heart-centered consciousness while maintaining absolute secrecy. And you understand the responsibility of using this knowledge only through divine love for the highest good of all. Most importantly, you now know the deepest truth about yourself, that you are not a limited human hoping for occasional manifestation, but infinite creative power itself, expressing through individual form. This realization alone can transform your entire life, but knowledge without practice remains just an idea. The 11 words will only change your life if you use them consistently, reverently, and with complete faith. So here is your first assignment. For the next 90 days, without exception, follow the full protocol. Every morning upon waking and every evening before sleep, enter the silence and speak these words from your heart to the infinite intelligence within. During these 90 days, tell no one about your practice. Guard these words as the sacred treasure they are. Watch with gratitude as your life begins to reorganize around your new consciousness. Some changes will be subtle. greater confidence, new opportunities, improved relationships. Others may be sudden and dramatic, unexpected income, solutions appearing, doors opening seemingly out of nowhere. But the most important transformation will be within you, the awakening to your true power as a conscious creator. The recognition that you are not controlled by circumstances, but the one who shapes them. By the end of 90 days, you will have proven to yourself that these words work exactly as promised. You will see that you are infinite creative power in action, a conscious collaborator with divine intelligence. Do not stop after 90 days. Let this practice become a way of life, part of your daily spiritual routine. Let the 11 words sink so deeply into your being that they express your natural state. Now imagine yourself 1 year from today, living abundantly, joyfully, and with purpose. Feel the confidence of knowing you can manifest any reality you choose. Experience the peace of understanding your true spiritual nature. Feel the fulfillment of using your gifts in service of love. This is not a dream. It is the future waiting for you if you commit to this practice, and I know you are ready. The fact that you found this teaching and stayed through this journey means you were meant to receive it. You came here at this time to awaken to your creative power and to use it in service of humanity's evolution. Your desires for love, freedom, abundance, and purpose are not selfish. They are divine impulses guiding you toward your true self. The universe needs you to succeed. It needs you to prosper and live with joy, because through your success, blessings flow to others. The 11 words are your inheritance, your birthright, your sacred gift from the intelligence that created you. They have been waiting for you to claim them, and now the time has come. Your new reality begins the moment you speak them in sacred silence. I've given you everything you need, the most closely guarded secret in spiritual knowledge, entrusted to you with care. You now hold the power to reshape reality itself. What you do with this power is entirely up to you. You can set it aside and carry on as before, or you can embrace the responsibility, commit to the practice, and step fully into your role as a conscious creator. I believe you will choose the latter. I believe you will carry these words into your heart, honor the protocol, and use this power with wisdom and love. When you do, you will remember who you truly are. You will awaken from limitation into infinite potential. You will move from the illusion of powerlessness into the truth of divine authority. Your life will then become living proof of what is possible when someone fully awakens to their spiritual nature. Your success will inspire others. Your abundance will generate abundance for others, and your love will spark love in those around you. This is your calling. The 11 words are simply the key unlocking what has always been true about you. Now, if you want to know the single mistake that destroys the power of every prayer, even these 11 sacred words, you must watch my next video, The Prayer Killer. This one mistake makes even the most powerful prayer ineffective. In that video, I reveal the subtle error that 99% of people unconsciously make, turning prayer from a tool of manifestation into empty repetition. You could follow the protocol perfectly, keep the practice secret, and set your intention with love. But if you make this one mistake, the words will lose all power and may even work against you. I've seen it happen to many, even advanced practitioners. But once you understand how to avoid it, your prayers will become exponentially stronger, and your manifestation ability will rise beyond anything you've experienced before. This knowledge is essential if you want to succeed with the 11 words. So click that video now. Remember, knowing the right words is only half the equation. Avoiding the mistake that kills prayer is the other half. The 11 words are waiting for you. Your new reality is waiting for you. Your spiritual nature is waiting. for you to recognize it. Everything you've desired is waiting for you to claim it through divine love. Your transformation begins now. Your manifestation begins today. Your awakening begins in this very moment. The silence is calling. The 11th. Words are ready. Your divine creative power is awakening. Go now and create the life you came here to live.